So I found this post on the Pokey Investing subreddit that I wanted to share with you all. Here's someone who has been investing into Pokemon for 8 years steadily and has amassed a pretty big portfolio, and you may be surprised of how much they spent. It's not as much as you would think, with their total value being $334,000. So I just want to show you guys this post. Just somebody who has a very large portfolio here, but someone who's been doing it for a while, not just overnight, not just in the past year, getting to this whole Pokemon investing thing because of the hype. They've been doing this for quite a while, and you'll see with the gains here, it shows. They were doing this before everything went crazy because the gains they've made have been significant. Now, I've told you guys before, if you were investing into Pokemon before, especially the last, this boom in the last one, the gains you would have seen are exponential, even with singles, even with PSA slabs. If you held on to anything before, the Sword and Shield era and before Scarlet and Violet, and you've held on until now, you've seen tremendous gains. So honestly, and I know it sounds crazy, people can have portfolios like these without spending that much money, even without really trying to invest, very efficiently. People have seen crazy gains. For example, if somebody maybe had, invested $100,000 before Sword and Shield, before, Scarlet and Violet, it's very possible, especially with sealed product, that they could have $500,000 in sealed product. It's very possible. And this is just one example of somebody who has been investing over time. They've been investing for 8 years and has amassed a pretty big portfolio. So as you can see here on their collector app, you can see plus 289,000 in the last 1,187 days. Obviously, I know the collector app, these numbers are sometimes kind of messed up, but it does show that, this person has been using the collector app for about like 3 years. So I guess they aren't just new and just, in the past year have really, started investing. And you'll see that with their cost basis. But you can see this number pretty big. You can see some of their top most valuable items here. Their top most is a Charizard in 10. Maybe I don't know if it's the base set. I don't know what Charizard in a 10 what this is, but it's $11,000. Pikachu EX in a 10. Don't know exactly which one that is. 4K. 151 PCTB case, a little bit over 4K. Sabrina's Gengar in a 10 Japanese. Seems like they're a Japanese collector. Is about 3K. And if you go to this next page, they show what they have. So they have 609 sealed, 413 cards, 138 graded, and total value of that. But total paid is only 88,000. And I know I say only 88,000, but if you look at their returns, you can see it's pretty crazy, 270%. Now, you gotta, imagine this person at least looking at the portfolio. They're not mainly investing as it seems. It seems like they're doing collecting and maybe investing because, the top, out of the top four things here, three of them are slabs. So you just gotta imagine that they're probably also just a collector. But let's just read some of the stuff here that they have to say. Thought I'd share my experience with the community. This is the result of steadily investing roughly 250 a week since 2017. Wow. Seems like they had a strategy and they've been doing it for a while. 250 a week. That's, pretty insane if they've been doing that for the past 8 years. My strategy has basically stayed the same over the years. I just buy what I like and what I think is cheap. So there you go. It does look like I said, this person seemingly just is a collector and maybe they know there's value to this stuff, but they're not trying to be the most efficient investor. They're also trying to just buy what they like and what they think is cheap, which, is fair enough. And they've still done extremely well. If a set is too expensive, I don't bother with it, which usually works in my favor, but caused me to miss sets like Team Up and Evolving Skies sadly. This strategy is pretty good. But yeah, they say that there's been some, caveats to this strategy not really working. I'm mainly a Japanese collector, and I make swing like trades with sealed. So they're mainly a collector, as they say here, and make swing like trades with sealed. Okay, I usually hold sealed for 3 to 4 years before selling off and reinvesting. Honestly, that's not a bad strategy. You have to sell at some point. This person is not one of those people that are sort of unrealistic saying, oh, I'm going to hold for 10, 20 years. I think holding for 3 to 4 years is a pretty good time frame to hold stuff because usually by then the set or the product is out of print and it grows usually a little bit exponentially in the beginning once it goes out of print, and then this person sells it. So I think 3 to 4 years is fine. That time frame, it sort of makes sense before selling off and reinvesting. When I sell off, I split the money 3 ways: reinvest to more sealed, buy Japanese vintage slabs, and cash out. Seems pretty good to me. About once every year or two, I trim the fat off the collection and put the cash in my pocket. Typically, these sales are modern slabs that got too expensive and too risky to hold, like tag team slabs recently. This person seemed pretty smart, just based on what they're saying here in their strategy. Seems very, just intelligent, to be honest, and very financially just smart. At this point, I've cashed out as much as my cost basis, so technically these holdings are on a free ride. I typically deal with case quantities, so it does take some discipline to pull money each week and not touch it until the right time. If I hadn't cashed out at all, I'd probably have about 50% more in value. So if you do 50% of 335, what is that, like 150 or 170,000. So they'd have about 400K. And that's what I'm trying to say here is, like, you can get a pretty big portfolio if you have been investing for this long. It's very possible. And obviously this person has mentioned they're not, mostly a collector. So they could have done better, obviously, but who knew that it was going to get this crazy. And this person has been doing it for 8 years, and probably 8 years ago, I don't think they imagined it'd probably be like this. I think I have some strong holdings. I'd say everything remaining is investment grade and pretty much low risk. I've already de-risked by selling off 80% of my Van Gogh, Pikachus, the felt hats. So I'll hold the rest, even though the price is so irrational. I've been hearing the market is crashing, but what I'm holding doesn't seem to be affected yet. So I'll just keep on keeping on. Cheers, investors. So this person's whole take and their whole strategy seems to be very smart. They seem to have cashed out along the way, and they do say, though, that if they just held everything, they would have done better. Obviously, looking now, that sounds great, but who knows? Maybe in a year from now, things go back a little bit down. Maybe selling some during the hype here was, smart, even though maybe they timed a little bit better. They could have made more, but you can't always just time the market perfectly. But overall, this person seemingly is pretty smart and they know what they're doing, and they've done extremely well. And this is just a perfect example of somebody who is a down-to-earth sort of investor slash collector who knows, okay, I have a lot of gains here. I'm going to cash them out, keep some for myself, buy some stuff I like. This person just overall well-rounded seemingly with investing, collecting, and has a good sort of perspective of this space, knowing, okay, I'm not going to hold this stuff till the end of time, cash out a little bit here and there, save some for myself, put in my pocket, buy some other stuff for investments, and keep some the money to buy other things I just like. So I think this person is pretty smart, and they've done extremely well investing 8 years steadily, which a lot of people have not done in this space. So congrats to this person. So let's read some of the comments here and we'll be done. It's the new stuff that is crashing, not vintage. Notice the same on my account. Pretty decent outcome given you've only been in since 2016. Smart move to allocate a third to vintage as you've seen a slower sale type trader, so it'll work in your favor for long haul. Okay. Congrats. Okay, it's too much. Sometimes as I'm scrolling my Reddit feed, I get this sub confused with regular investing subs. Okay. 88K in 8 years. Wow. Hope you at least that back when you try to sell it. I mean, they've already said they've sold pretty much their cost basis, so I think they're doing all right. And with the things they have here, I think it's going to be pretty easy to get way more than that. While $250 a week is probably outside of most people's budget, I do think this shows the benefit of consistent long-term time in the market. Patience will always win in the long run. That app's kind of a joke, convinces people who are broke that they have imaginary money. Okay, this person's just, okay, one of those people. Sell, they got a lot of downvotes. So, obviously some, split sort of opinions in the comment section of looking at this, but just based on this person's strategy and what they've mentioned here, it seems like they know what they're doing. So congrats to this person. Shows you, consistency is key, especially those who have been doing this since both of these booms, this one we were in right now and the Sword and Shield boom. You've done extremely well, even if you weren't just investment forward. So that's all I want to share in this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.